Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a village board meeting Tuesday, August 26th. If we'll all stand, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Present.
Trustee DeVivo?
Present.
Trustee Kajanis?
Present.
Trustee Sabo?
Present.
Trustee Swees?
Present.
Trustee Yukich?
Present.
Mayor Daley?
Present. Before we get the meeting started, I'd like to take a moment of silence for a young man that lost his life, Brent Ludwig, on a hiking accident a couple weeks ago. So let's take a second and say a prayer for him. Okay, with that being said, this would be D. Are there amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, I do have one.
Go ahead.
Under old business, last meeting we were having a discussion on Woodbine. All I want to do is consider the previous motion from the meeting last time and put it on the agenda for an action item for 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. So the old business is the Woodbine.
Correct.
Okay.
So you want an action item, not in this meeting, but...
For September 10th.
We can't have it in this one because it wasn't
Exactly.
posted, so we'll have it in
Right.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have a problem with that? All right. This would be E. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 29, 2014 special village board meeting?
So moved.
First by trustee Yukich,
Second.
second by trustee Costa. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Present.
Trustee Kajanis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Swees?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be E2. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 10th, 2014 village board meeting?
So moved.
First by trustee Kajanis.
Second.
Second by that was trustee DeVivo. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kajanis? Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Swees?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be F. Is there a motion to approve the accounts payable for the period of July 24th through August 27th, 2014?
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
Second.
second by trustee, was that Swees?
Yes.
Trustee Swees. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Kajanis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Swees?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Motion carries. This portion of the meeting is reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. I'll start out. Let's see here. For those of you who have not yet heard, I'm proud to announce that the village of Homer Glen has been ranked the #1 safest place in Illinois to live by, how do you say that, M-O-V-O-T-O? Movito. Movito.com. To determine the 50 safest places in Illinois, Movito.com listed the most populated areas in the state, and then found data in the Movada deemed significant criteria from the FBI's Uniform Crime Report. Movado focused on reported murders, violent crimes, property crimes, and total crimes for each location. Of the 115 locations reviewed, Homer Glen was picked as the safest Illinois community due to the lowest number of reported crimes. Movado praised Homer Glen's all-around safety. There's simply no better option than Homer Glen. This safest community in Illinois honor is due to Homer Glen's residents being committed to sustaining a safe community and to the ongoing good work of our Sheriff's Department. Good job, Fish. That's you guys. Okay, update on the 2014 drainage improvement project. Yesterday afternoon, the village held a pre-construction meeting for the second phase of the village's 2014 drainage improvement program. This phase includes the reconstruction of detention ponds in the Derby Meadows and Meadowview subdivisions. The work will involve the village's removal of sediment, which has collected over the years, and the installation of a new storm sewer, and finally the restoration of the 2 ponds. The work will increase the storm water storage volume in both ponds, while also allowing these areas to drain properly from storm events. The village's contractor is scheduled to begin this work in the next few weeks, and the work is anticipated to be completed sometime in October, depending upon the weather. These 2 projects are additional examples of the village's ongoing commitment to fix long-standing stormwater detention problems throughout the community. Under the Lockport Fish Food Pantry, the village recently received word that the Lockport Fish Food Pantry, that food donations are down. Over the last few months, the food pantry has been serving slightly over 300 families per month, which is equivalent to approximately 1,050 individuals. The pantry is specifically requesting donations of cereal and breakfast items. All donations can be made to the 604 East 9th Street in Lockport. They are still open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 a.m. till 11:30 a.m. and on Free Food Tuesday, which starts about noon each week. And then under the Northern Will County Agency, the Northern Will County Water Agency was scheduled to meet at the Romeo Village Hall on Monday, September 9th at 11 a.m. The meeting has been rescheduled to Tuesday, September 10th at 11 a.m. The meeting will still be held at Romeoville's Village Hall, which is located at 1050 West Romeo Road. So with that being said, that concludes the mayor's report, and we'll start down with trustees with Trustee Costa.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to report on the FEST Committee. We met last week, and we have a preliminary report on the receipts and expenses for the FEST. We're hoping to have the final report tonight, but we're still waiting for a few more invoices from businesses and from suppliers that come in. But our expenses to date were $85,648, and again, there's still a couple receipts we're waiting for, but we do have some budget numbers plugged into that for expenses. Our receipts for the event were $128,178. So profit overall on the event is $42,529. So again, that's just preliminary, and we'll have the final figures for our next meeting. Also, we met, and I'd like to ask the board's consensus if we're going to move forward on the fest for next year, so the committee can move forward with and begin making plans and start contacting vendors and things of that nature.
Okay, I think everybody was very happy with the event and would like to see it continue.
Thank you.
Is that pretty much?
Yes, I
Okay.
agree.
Okay, with that, then, the committee did pick June 25th. Anticipation, that's all we're trying for here. We did pick June 25th, June 26th, June 27th, and June 28th for next year's fest. And that is my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Costa. Trustee Yukich?
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Service and Safety Committee sent out a letter to all the people that had received letters before about the boats and the RVs, explaining that there was a total hold on it right now. There is nothing to worry about. We are going to be discussing it over the next few months, trying to make this a workable ordinance. So if anyone does have any questions, as we said before, Trustee Costa and myself, Trustee Yukich, have our phone numbers on the business cards. You can give us a call, we'll answer anything you need. And the meetings are the first Wednesday of every month. That's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Yukich. Trustee Sabo?
Yes, I'm reporting for the Environment Committee, and the first item is tree replacement program. The Homer Glen Park Public Parkway Tree Replacement Program, standard operating procedure is on the agenda as J14. The Environment Committee appreciates the time and effort of Environment Committee Liaison Staff Person Sue Stylen in researching and coordinating the development of the program with the Environment Committee for this very important project. Next item is Homer Glen Lands Day Awards. The Environment Committee would like to have the Community and Nature in Harmony Awards presented to individuals, businesses, and organizations at the board meeting of Wednesday. We have a new day starting in September. Wednesday, September 24, and a request for the meeting to start at 7 p.m. instead of 7:30, which has been traditional. September 24th is the closest meeting to the official date for National Public Lands Day and Homer Glen Lands Day, which is September 17th. So would there be a problem with having awards on that night, which is in September 24th?
I don't see anything unless, Kim, did you have something on
No,
the agenda?
if the board's okay with it, we'll have it as a action item in your next agenda.
Okay.
Yeah. for
So
the
we
meeting.
would start at 7?
Yep.
The next part of the Homer Glen Lands Day is the tree planting. And to commemorate Homer Glen Lands Day, the Environment Committee will be planting a tree at Stonebridge Park in October. A meeting took place last week at the park to select the planting site with the Parks and Recreation Committee Chairman Marcia DeVivo, Staff Liaison Scott Chance, and Rick Gomez of Instant Shade Transplanting Company, who will be planting the large tree. And more details will be presented at a later date. That's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Sabo. Trustee K. Janice?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep it brief. First of all, I'd like to congratulate on the #1 status for Safe Town Award. Hard work and dedication from our law enforcement. And Mayor, I know you've been in constant communication with our law enforcement over many years on issues that may or may arise in our community. Also, I'd like to congratulate the residents for their due diligence and their watchful eye on reporting possible incidents. So congratulations on this esteem. Also, I'd like to, just really briefly, one of our very own businesses in Homer Glen, Chili's organization, is having National Ovarian Cancer Coalition. When you go into Chili's, up until September 30th, they will give back with this voucher 15% to this charity. So please participate, visit our Chili's, get this certificate, and turn it in with your check. Our very own Chili's is participating in this, and it's, once again, the partnership with the village and our businesses for a great cause. Mr. Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you, Trustee K. Janice. Trustee Suisse?
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting for the Homer Harvest Days Committee, we are less than 2 weeks away from Homer Harvest Days taking place on September 6 and 7 at the Trantina Farm on 151st Street near Gauger. We are seeking more volunteers to ensure we have a very successful and enjoyable event. Volunteers can visit the website at homerharvestdays.com for more information and an application. The entertainment lineup is as follows. The Georgia Ray Family Band will be performing both days on the main stage. The Grand Prairie Dulcimer will be performing all day on Saturday with Innisfree on Sunday. The Windy City Wizard will perform both days on the secondary stage. There will be various vendors, exhibits, and demonstrators, including a live history portrayal by Ken Downey, which will show the art of tomahawk throwing to include audience participation for those who want to try their skills. Children can also become a blacksmith for a day by hand stamping letters on metal tags. There will be a pie eating contest on Saturday with a time to be determined. The Civil War cannon from Taylor's Battery B will open the event at 11 a.m. and continue to fire on the hour on Saturday. Sunday's schedule is to be determined. Please join us for a fun-filled day. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Suisse. Trustee DeVivo?
Thank you, Mayor. We met last night for the Parks and Recreation Committee, and we discussed working on another road trip, and we were hoping to do this in September, during the September meeting, which is on the 22nd. We're going to be running out of summer pretty soon, so I think that we almost have to have it in September. So we're going to select a few different parks that we might go to and might try to actually go to more than one in the evening. But that will be posted on the agenda closer to the time of the 22nd. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee DeVivo. Does the treasurer have a report?
Yes, Mayor, I have the Treasurer's Report of Cash and Investments at July 31st, 2014. It's the third month of the fiscal year. It shows cash and investments in the general fund of $4,637,370.38. The motor fuel tax fund with cash and investments of $2,271,538.50. The park fund with cash and investments of $2,431,933.14. The debt service fund has cash and investments of $645,121.76. And the last fund, the capital project fund, has cash and investments of $22,209,415.69. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Is there any questions for John? Thank you. Is there a clerk's report?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a village attorney report?
No report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
How about any task force chairpersons? All right. How about public safety officials? How about the village manager?
Mayor, just a couple quick things, Mayor and Board. First of all, just for those of you who are in the audience tonight, we have a hazardous waste drop-off, paper recycling, and electronic recycling event coming up in October. And when we set the dates for all of it, it seemed like a long way away, but now it's right around the corner. So tonight when you leave, there's information about it on our website on the front page for those of you in the audience. And also there's paper by the agenda table over there for anybody that would like to pick one up and participate in that event. The second item I just want to mention for everyone's benefit is we've had, over the past couple of years since I've been here, staff has had a really outstanding relationship with the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce here locally. Rosella Trotter, I think, is just, I've worked with a lot of executive directors over my 25-plus year career, and she's really been top-notch to work with. A couple staff members are going to take her out to lunch here, I think this week or next week, to thank her for her good efforts, because her and her husband are relocating to one of the best towns besides Homer Glen in America, and that's, of course, Green Bay. So there'll be rogue Bear fans in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is perfectly fine. But her husband's got a good job. She's very excited about it. And we just wish her all the best in the world, because she's been great to work with. And my final item tonight is just recently, I had a little delay in the first quarter award because I had to wait till I could get Elena here, but I have another ABCD award to hand out. I think anybody that has had the opportunity to travel to our brand new village park in Erin Hills understands that there was an awful lot of work that went into that park. And the work, while it's certainly a lot of good work is done by contractors and engineering firms and stuff, a good portion of the work is actually done by staff. And it's a multitude of staff members that make it happen. But in this particular park, Erin Hills, which I know was originally, the planning for it started many, many years ago, and we were able to bring it to fruition here and do the grand opening just a month or so ago. But Mike Salamovich has really went above and beyond with this park, with other staff members' helps, clearly. But Mike really bore the brunt of the staff work on this beautiful new park, which the board hopefully will be voting on adding to that park tonight. It's one of your agenda items to make it even more spectacular in years to come. So I'd like to recognize Mike and ask him to stand up. This is his quarter, because last year he was ABCD in May, August also. So Mike's got a lock on this time period. Mike, why don't you come up here and let's take a picture. Elaine, if you want to come over. And this comes with a little $50 gift certificate for someplace in Homer Glen to shop. The staff member gets the tickets from me, and I really appreciate all your good work. Thank you so much. All right, we'll hold it together. I can only hold it in so long. That's okay. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, the next portion of this meeting will be public comment. Name and address for the record. Let's see who we have here. Brian Halbeck. I believe that's the name.
Yeah, I signed it. I'll be presenting regarding the website.
Oh, okay. Okay. Then the next speaker would be John Coy.
John Coy, 12056 Venetian Way, Homer Glen. I'm talking about the 143rd Street again with the water retention area that's supposed to hold water, which doesn't hold water. It runs in one side and out the other side and straight down the road where they enlarged all the pipe system and puts it right in Long Run Creek, which thusly runs right into Yangus Park. So with that, the park is even getting more water and has for the last 43 and a half years that I've lived here. Another thing is the neighborhoods, as I drive around, have never been so rough and shoddy looking with all these lawns that are this high and nothing's being done about them either. I really would like to see somebody make a phone call or do something or send the highway department out there. Some of these lawns are ridiculously high and should be maintained a little better than what they are. It makes it look bad for all of us. And like I say, that water, hopefully 159 won't have the same problem where they could have just put a pipe under the ground. That thing doesn't hold water. If you don't believe me, next rain, go there and watch it, because it runs out of the one pipe from the subdivision, right into the other pipe, and right down across the street and down Will Cook Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, why don't you take a ride around the neighborhood, take a look and see some of these sites. John may have them written down for what I know, so. Sure. Okay. All right, next speaker would be Walter Kono. I'm good. You're good? Okay. I'm glad you're good. The final speaker then would be Christine Nitschke.
If I can speak when the Konos,
Well, this is your chance to speak in public comment.
well, I'll wait till number 7.
Okay. If there's questions for Mr. Kono when it comes up and you're part of representing him, you certainly can answer questions at that time. Okay. Okay, then that concludes the public comment portion of this meeting. The next portion of this meeting is I, which is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the following items of business? 1, consider for approval a motion amending the village's administration and finance committee and Community and Economic Development Committee's regular meeting schedules. And 2, consider for approval resolution number 14-004, a resolution authorizing the village's acquisition of Lot 290 in the Erin Hills subdivision in the village of Homer Glen. And 3, consider for approval the mayor's caucus membership dues.
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
Second.
second by trustee Kajanis. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Sluis?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kijana?
Aye.
Okay, the next portion of this meeting is legislation and action items. This would be J1. Is there a motion to approve an agreement between the Village of Homer Glen and Williams Architects, Itasca, Illinois, for professional architectural services related to the remodeling of the village's Woodbine Property Clubhouse and Banquet Facility into the Homer Glen's new Village Hall?
So moved.
First by trustee DeVivo,
Second.
second by trustee Kajanis. Mr. Mark Bushhouse, President of Williams Architects, is here this evening to answer any questions the board may have about the agreement for professional architectural services related to the remodeling of the Woodbine building. It's so preliminary with the building, I mean, you know, to get the contract out of the way is, I think, the first thing.
That would get us going.
That'll get us going, yeah. So does anybody have any questions at this point for Mark? Okay, thank you, Mark.
Hold it.
Excuse me?
No, what we were saying, what I want to bring up doesn't pertain to you exactly at the moment, but we were given a draft and we had a PowerPoint. And then just a couple days ago, we had this fine print 22-page contract that I don't think we had enough time to proceed with, to make sure we are doing our due diligence in reviewing everything. I felt like I needed a little bit more time to look into this because we had to compare PowerPoints and original drafts with an agreement, so and then we had like a 5-inch packet as well. I mean, that was just my comment. I do have some questions, but I don't know if I have them at this moment.
This would be a good time, Mark, you know, I know Mark's been before you now in this contract development phase 3 times. This is his 3rd time here. And so typically, maybe you would see the president of the company maybe once. So this would be a good time if you have questions, and Mark would be happy to walk you through any point of the agreement, or the village attorney or I, since we negotiated it with them. It's a pretty standard contract, but you could have Mark give you a little bit of a walkthrough, if you like. That might answer a lot of questions, Mayor.
Sure.
All right, then.
Do you have a copy of it with
Yes,
you?
I do. I happen to have one right here.
Start Sharon at any time.
Well,
that you have a
I think,
question.
you know, probably one of the main would be on pages 18 and 19, compensation. I mean, that would be a
Good one to talk
good
about.
point to start.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then let's focus on that. Architects and engineers are typically hired in a group of services called basic services. That is when the basic scale of the project has been understood, and then we move forward with the schematic design, which is an early design time when we're just laying out things very simply, talking through the basic questions of what the building's built out of, what basic heating and cooling and other systems are needed. We finish that phase and then we do a cost estimate, and we bring that forth before the board for your review and approval. Then we go on to a next phase called design development. We develop much more detailed design drawings. Staff and you folks will make all the decisions basically needed for the facility during that phase. At the end of that, we do another cost estimate, this time in a very detailed way. And then we move on to construction documents, and that's when we prepare all the legal documents necessary to get and apply for building permits, to go out and bid the project, and ultimately those are the drawings and specifications that are used to build the project. We then follow through during the bidding phase, assist the staff with bidding, review the contractors that had bid the job, and then follow through during construction, visiting the site regularly, looking at submittals that they are required to provide us, looking at payouts, and we're there all the way through the end of the project. And that has a 7.8% fee of the total construction cost. And then for this project, there's a number of other services that staff and we believe are very helpful to the village. And they include this estimating I was talking about. We do a lot of detailed estimating. And what that affords the village is a high degree of confidence that on bid day, when we open the bids, the numbers will be very close to the estimate. In fact, our firm makes a promise that if it comes in over the estimate by more than 6.5%, we will redraw and rebid as necessary without charging the village any more fees. Also, in addition to doing the basic architecture and the basic engineering, we also believe it's helpful to have interior designers pick all the colors and finishes, carpets, materials exactly as they need to be with patterns and colors. That's a service that costs $19,000. We also then would develop and design the furniture for the facility. That starts with inventorying all the furniture you have here, evaluating it, seeing what can be reused, what should not be reused, and then go through a process of laying all the furniture out. We coordinate that with the architecture, with outlets and all of that, help the village select the best furniture at the best price. They help do the bidding, and they also follow through the construction phase of the project. That's a cost of $22,000.
So this $19,000 and $22,000 doesn't include anything other than your design and selection? It does not include anything else other than,
Doesn't include the
What-
furniture, no.
well, or, okay.
Okay. Then also, we also have a consultant working with us on this project that will design what they call low voltage systems. Those include audio visual. That could be certainly in the boardroom and other meeting rooms around the facility. They also design in all the wiring that you can plug your computers and phones into. They work to put in any closed circuit TV systems that might be needed. And we also put in some duress alarm equipment as is good in a village hall. Between their services and ours, we charge the village $20,000. We also, in discussing this with the manager and the village attorney, talking about how to bid the project out, having reviewed how the current market is, we think it's in the village's interest to pre-qualify the general contractors for this project, meaning we would prepare a document that is distributed to all the contractors that are interested. It requires a good deal of information from them, projects they've done, the quality of their staff, references, and so forth. And they submit all that information. We review it along with the staff and attorney, and we would make a selection of the general contractors that we believe are qualified to bid on the project. They are notified, and so that's the group that's allowed to bid on the job. That has done a great job over the years of keeping unqualified contractors from bidding on a project like this. You simply don't want to get into that problem, and yet you still want very competitive bids. So this is a process that we have seen help make that happen. And we're charging $3,000 to manage the reports and interviewing and all that with those contractors. We also have some reimbursable expenses that we would pass through for printing and mileage and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful?
Do you have any other questions, Sharon?
Let me see what you tell me here. No, I think he kind of explained it. Are we locked into, like where you have on page 19 under 11.2, you listed all these things. Now, is this agreement, like say if we backed out of some of these charges, I mean, is this a locked-in contract?
You can fire us anytime you want.
No, I'm just saying, like say, for example,
All these
for
other
example,
things.
if, we wanted
I
to
see.
change
Do
something,
something.
we could do our
Um,
own inventory maybe for $4,000.
The
You know,
agreement-
I mean, something like that.
The agreements have that all in there,
Okay,
and the village has the right to terminate us. I don't know if they have the right to sit down and selectively line item out of it. I've never had a client do that, so I actually
okay,
don't
no,
know.
I'm just seeing
Right.
if this is, this is concrete, black and white. Okay.
Yeah. One of the things I just mentioned, because I know when people hear those totals for the furniture side, sometimes it's a little off-putting. You think, why do we need someone to put together a list of all the furniture we have? It's actually bigger than that. That's an easy way to describe it. But let's take this conference table as an example. They're going to be designing spaces, conference room spaces. And we need to check to see if this table will be able to fit into one of those conference room spaces so that we can reuse it, because we want to reuse it, because to buy this table would probably be $3,000, $4,000. It's an expensive piece of furniture. Furniture can be very expensive. So one of the part of that is not just making a list of what's available, like these chairs that you're all sitting in, but can they be reused? Are 4 of them broken? Do we have them, taped together right now just so that they last, or are they all in good shape? Can we reuse them in a conference room versus at a dais, because the height may no longer be appropriate on the new dais? So that's all a part of the furniture. What I found in the previous projects that I do is that when you actually have the architect handle everything related to the furniture, I swear that you actually end up saving money in the long run, because they have the experience. The person that he has on staff, who we got a chance to meet during the interview, has the experience to know what furniture can be reused, where it could be reused, and so I think that that's probably money very well spent. That's one of the hardest ones on the list, if you've never gone through otherwise, what you're dealing with is a vendor. We're hiring a GSA. We're going to buy furniture on a government contract. So we're going to be relying on the vendor's expert to tell us what kind of furniture we need. The vendor is in the business of selling furniture. So to the vendor, this table isn't nearly as reusable as it is to our architecture firm. So that's where I think it ends up coming in the long run and saving you money. Just a little bit of additional.
I just have one other.
Go right ahead.
Can you just explain, and maybe for existing conditions and concepts, planning, 18,000, what, can you just explain what you normally would do on that?
Yes, what we're going to do
Is that a
is,
drawing or?
we come out, in fact, we've already started taking, hoping you'll continue and hire us. We've already come out and we've measured the floor plan of the building. We've entered it into our CAD system. We're also
Okay.
going to have our architect and engineers come out and review the condition of all the equipment and heating and cooling systems and the condition of the building and doors, everything. We issue reports on that. We'll also work with your staff and as you folks, as you would like, to do space programming to figure out what room sizes you really need to accomplish the work that you do here for the people you have. And then we do some planning concept with the building to see what fits and how it fits and what the best ideas are. We'll budget that. And the goal of that, into that time frame, we can come before you and say, you know, your needs fit well. This allows for some growth. Here's what we think the budget needs to be to get this project done, and here are some options. Then you folks can tell us how you want us to proceed. And now that sets the basis for us to go into that schematic design and really start designing the actual spaces.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions for Mark? All right, thank you, Mark.
Sorry, Mayor. The one thing that Mark asked me before the meeting tonight was the question that still hasn't been answered, and I know the board's going to be discussing it at your next meeting and stuff. But if you recall at the interview, you asked all three of the architects to comment on phasing of the project. And Mark wanted to have the opportunity to repeat what he actually said the last time, which, if you recall, he was the most detailed, Williams was the most detailed in terms of the answer to that question. So Mark wanted to repeat it again. Mark, if you want to just
Sure,
talk about
thank you.
phasing in case the phasing happens.
Right.
To get it on the
We do
record.
a significant number of our projects in phased approaches, and we also do a lot of them that are just designed and built as one time. And there are very good reasons to phase projects as far as space is not available, if you have to move people around because you're already in the space, things like that, and those simply have to be done the way they have to be done. In fact, we're doing that in Glenview right now on their Village Hall project. However, I want to be sure the board understands that as we get into this thing, if those needs are important, of course, but please know there is a cost that goes with phasing. You have to have contractors watch the project get built for more months. They mobilize twice. There's more meetings. Our fees are affected by having more construction phase time. And building things in smaller pieces, your unit cost goes up a little bit. Our history has shown that as you would build a project in phases on a scale of this one, you could add somewhere in the range of 10% to the cost of the project if you really break this up into distinct phases.
Mark,
So-
which is what you said during the interview, so you've been
right.
consistent about the
Right.
percentage, right?
So, sorry
Okay.
if that's good or bad news. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse?
Um,
I thought we were going to have discussion among ourselves.
I guess,
We just had a discussion with the
Oh, we were
architect.
asking him questions.
Okay, do you have a question
Oh,
for somebody?
Well, I still have a question, and that has to do with the base price. And the base price is $170,000, that's 7.8% of the budget. And so how do we know? I mean, we don't know that we're going to be spending that much.
Well, it's.
So that's my question.
Right.
Why base it on that when we don't know what we're going to be?
Right, well, we budgeted 2.25 million, and I've mentioned that probably 4 or 5 times over the course of this discussion. That's what's actually in the budget for remodeling of Woodbine. So it's actually 7.8% is actually a little bit more than 170,000. It's like 175, but we're assuming that we're going to come in under budget because that's what Mark often does in his job. So we kicked that back just a little bit, and I made him do the base at 170. So that's what's in the budget. That's what the board approved for the budget, so that's the number that we're going with. And Mark has commented that he feels comfortable with that price, and he feels like we can absolutely come under budget with that, so. I didn't just pull it out of the sky, it's what's in the actual budget.
Well, I realize that, but I know there was a time when you had said that budget was actually high, that you had figured high, but actually you wouldn't be spending that much.
Right, and I'm really anticipating spending a little bit under it, that's why the base is just a little bit under 7.8%.
You can always bring something in cheaper. What you don't want to have happen is anticipate a $2 million, village hall, and the final number comes in and it's $4 million. We know that from the 22 interviews with architectural firms, that they all agreed that the square footage price would come in somewhere between $100 to $150 a square foot. So that's where you get a general ballpark. Now, what type of bells and whistles you put on this place will drive the cost. What you can reuse is, there was a little bit of discussion before about reusing certain materials that are here will bring down the cost. But you certainly don't want to take advice from 22 architectural firms and just say they're all wrong. So we base this number to $2 million on the size of the building and the square footage. It's between $100 to $150 a square foot, which we were told it would cost to do that building. Okay?
Yeah, I think all of the architectural firms said the exact same amount.
George, I believe you had something.
Well, I made a few phone calls to some builders and asked what it would cost to get a house built in Burr Ridge, and that's from the dirt up. And then also one out in Lockport, because they've got a smaller community to where you're not building the very high dollar buildings. In Lockport, it was $90,000 to $95,000 a square foot to build the entire structure. And in Burr Ridge, it was $125,000 to $175,000 for a house in Burr Ridge. Now that's high end. If they're saying $150 a square foot, you've already got a building up. You've got the heat there, you've got everything there. Obviously, you might have to change some of the stuff. But how they come up with $150 a square foot to put drywall up and ceilings in just kind of floors me. As for what you had just got done saying a minute, Cameron, a few months ago at one of the meetings, $2.4 million was set on the side, and Trustee Costa made a motion that it is not just for the building, it is also for the park. Because if you just see this, I feel we're putting the cart before the horse here. If you're telling him that we can spend up to $2.2 million, well, anyone in the world, if they know that they can get $2.2 million out of it, would go for 2.2. This is like going to a car dealer. You go to a car dealer, if he asks you, what can you spend? Leave the dealership, because it's none of his business.
But you don't have to go there with the intent of buying the $2 million car. What you're doing is you're taking the advice of 22 different engineering architectural firms that do this for livings. You're talking about two different things there too, George. You're talking about residential versus a village hall.
Village hall
we need certain things, and we haven't decided what we need yet. We put the money in the budget, not because we have to spend the entire amount of money. That's not what this is about. What it's about is coming out at the end of the day with everything that the village hall has to have for Homer Glen, and with a nice look. That's it.
And I don't have a problem with it, and that's the way it should be. But I think we should find out, when you go to build anything, whether it be a house, the shop that I own, I went to an architect and I said, I want this. What can you do for me? And he drew up something to accommodate what I had explained to him, what it was, and then he gave me a price of what it would cost to do the architectural. We're telling, and I understand Williams has a very good reputation, so I says, it's nothing against you. But to come right out and say, all right, I'm gonna pay you $170,000 up front before you've done anything, because that's the minimum, and then you're gonna have add-ons of almost $86,000, that's $260,000 right there that we are gonna spend from a budget of Cameron, you said 2.2 something, So now you're down to $2 million
No, it's the
already.
professional services, as I mentioned before, are budgeted separately. They're in the capital fund,
Okay.
and this is under what we budgeted for capital services by about 70.
I saw that in the report.
By about 70,000, yeah.
Okay. I just wonder why, when it comes to government, it is so much higher to have something done than when it's for the public. For me to go out and get a price from someone, it's so much cheaper. I don't understand it. It's, you know,
Well, we have
I
Mark,
think what bothers me the most is we are not spending our money. We are spending their money, and I think due diligence comes in. That's why we wanted to read a little bit of this. If you look at this packet, and it's not 22 pages, it's actually almost 30 pages. It's like a contract. Unless you're a lawyer, you have no idea what the hell you're reading. You're just reading garbage. It doesn't make any sense. You have to go from here to here to here to here to here to here. All I'm trying to say is if someone's gonna give me a price on something, you know, when it came out with Obamacare, it was the same thing. Let's vote on it after we write it, and then we'll decide what we're gonna do with it. I feel very uncomfortable saying that, okay, I'm willing to spend $170,000, and I'm not saying you're not worth it, but $170,000, and then all these add-ons for $86,000 to make it $260 when it's still taxpayer money, whether it was budgeted or not. We budgeted it in, they didn't.
Right.
So all I want to do is, I would like to be able to finish reading this. I have no problem with voting to put this man on, but I don't want to guarantee right off the bat that we're going to spend $286,000, because that's pretty much what he just ran down.
okay. So I would just say, obviously, it's the board's decision about when you decide on it. Mark has been here 3 times now, and we can certainly invite him back again to talk about it. Mark, why don't you stand up for a minute in case there's anything you want to add? I would just say this. The 3 finalist firms, which we all agreed were exceptional firms. They're all great. We could be working with any of them. Mark knows them all well. All said the same thing per square foot. They said the same exact thing, every one of them. So it's not like Williams came in the door and all of a sudden the building got more expensive per square foot. I think that's a really important point to make. They all said the same thing. Actually, if we went back to the committee that did the interviewing, even some of the firms that we didn't bring as finalists said the same thing, which Trustee Costa can attest to. So in terms of the cost of building a private home versus a commercial building that serves as Village Hall, Mark, I don't know if you want to.
Sure,
talk about that.
there's a long list of reasons. It starts with you folks have to do prevailing rates of wage, which means, you know, great to have unions, but a union versus non-union makes a significant difference in labor costs. We certainly build things out of different materials. We have thicker drywall, heavier floor loads. Mechanical systems have significantly higher requirements on them to bring in outside ventilation and controls. They have to handle much different heating and cooling requirements than a house is required to do. So the heating systems, cooling systems are vastly more expensive on a commercial building than on a home. The electrical systems, again, there are actually state laws now about energy efficiency, and only certain kind of lighting fixtures and automatic light motion sensors that are now required. The energy code that's been adopted by Illinois probably added 10% to the electrical costs when they did that 2 years ago. So, you know, that's, you folks are held to a very high standard. You're a government agency. Your requirements for handicapped accessibility, equipment, everything is designed to last you a long time. You folks tend to stay in your buildings and use them very hard for many years, and so we cannot use residential grade anything. And, you know, you want a building that's going to last you a decade or 2 or 3 or 4, you've got to spend some money to get there. If you build things at a residential level, I can assure you a Village Hall would beat that place badly very quickly.
All right. Well, let me just make one thing clear.
Sure.
I called to just find out a basic price structure.
Sure.
But we're not moving into a house. The building that there is not residential.
Correct.
It is commercial. So it has a lot of the,
Right.
what you just explained to it has a lot of it in there.
Okay.
All I'm trying to say is I would rather have, let me ask you this, easiest way to do it. If you go in there and they say we want 9 offices, we
Right.
want, that's
Whatever
pretty much what
right.
you have to do is put 9 offices and a couple walls up.
Right.
If you did that and it came out to $500,000, that's what you get paid on?
We would certainly talk about it, yes, but I have no expectation that that's going to be the issue.
Even if it was $1 million, $1.5 million? If it
Right.
comes in,
Mhm.
what Cameron had said, if it comes in under budget,
Right.
then that's what we pay is under budget? Because we're not trying to,
Right.
it's not my money I'm spending, so I have to ask all these questions
No,
because.
these are good questions, I understand. We also, when we gear up for projects like this, there is a level of hours that we schedule ourselves and all the engineers that will put into this project so that we achieve the quality and the design features that are necessary. And all I can tell you is right now, we're working for about 60 municipalities and park districts and fire districts around the state of Illinois right now. And these costs that we're talking about are with remodeling. We just did a project in Willowbrook, a village hall, 10,000 square feet. The building was there, good solid brick building, good windows around it, floor plan was very close to what they needed. We spent $140 a square foot.
Trustee Costa?
No, I do understand your fees and costs on this. I'm in the business, but on the mechanical end of it, heavy industrial and some heavy commercial.
Great.
So reading your document, I can almost plug in different crafts, and it's pretty much, I want to say boilerplate, but it's not. It's geared more toward your business. But I think that it's on us to control the cost of the project. The architect, when they design a building, they don't care if you put oak in, or if you put pine in, or if you put carpeting, you put hardwood floors. That's our control. They're going to design a building based on what our needs are. It's up to us to say, okay, you know what, we can go with pine, or let's go with composite. We can go with a different kind of flooring. But there are costs that we can't get away from, such as the Illinois Energy Act. I just was involved in a project like that. It was unbelievable. The $150, $150 range on commercial and industrial, what I work with, I do feel you're right about there. But I think the actual cost of the project, I mean, if we went in there and said we had a $500,000 budget and they quoted us for, I'm just going to use a number of $70,000 to design it, and then we come back and say, no, we want this and this and this and this, I think we're more than fair saying this is what our budget is. Historically, this is their estimated fees. What they need to give us a job or a complete project, now it's up to us to bring down the cost of the actual construction, the furniture, and everything that goes in it. That's where we can bring it down to $1 million, $1.5 million, $1.7 million. But it's not, and personally, I just don't think it's fair to say, well, if we're not going to spend that much money, you shouldn't get as much. You're still going to design the building to our needs. It's just the internal cost is what we can control.
Right.
Exactly.
And you know,
That's
I
my
think to hire a quality firm, which hopefully you're about to do in Williams, I think what we'll end up seeing with this respectable base cost is them doing absolutely every single thing that they can do to keep that bigger cost down. And one of the things I just wanted to touch on one more time, because we've talked about it several times now, but the estimating side of things. One of the reasons why I'm so supportive of the strong estimating component of this is so that the village board knows at every stage as we move through what we're getting into and if the board wants to dial it back. So Mark, can you just spend another couple minutes just talking about the estimating and how that process can help keep the costs down?
Well, in that conceptual phase that I described, where we're figuring out the space programming, the condition of the building and systems, we would come to you at the end of that and say, here's what our engineers are reporting is the condition of your existing heating and cooling systems. Here are their recommendations to provide a long life and quality cooling and heating for your building, energy savings, and here are the system changes that we think are necessary. And we'll kind of go through that. We'll go through the electrical system. We'll describe the basic changes to the floor plan, to the building, and we'll give you a document that shows how the money's basically being allocated to get all those things done. And that's part of that conversation about, you know, is that enough? Do you need less? Do you need more? And you give us direction, and then we go do it. And then, like Cameron said, we would do that every step of the way as the design is getting more developed and more detailed or getting figured out. We'll come back to you with more and more detail on the cost, and certainly we're working with staff to look at the smaller pieces, looking to control and yet get you very good life service out of the product in the building. And again, you folks can look through that and ask questions as you want about all these elements. And as you guide us and direct us, hopefully with our recommendations, we want you to end up with a very long-lasting building here, but have that conversation about what you spend your money on. and we'll end up with a project that's really aligned with your goals.
Okay.
And it gets more and more detailed every step of the way.
I follow it. I bill for a living.
Good.
Any further questions for Mark?
I just want to make
I-
sure.
I would like you to know, too, that the village attorney did go over this contract. He's,
Kim and I met with Mark last week, Kim. The last time we met with him we met with him about 3 hours. That was last
Right.
week, yeah.
You know, and went through all the changes in the contract, and we prepared a rider that, to specifically address the fact that the village can, among other things, specifically providing that the village can cancel the contract at any time it wants. There's no cancellation fee, there's no termination expense, and then whatever work they've done to that point of termination, you're entitled to because you paid for it.
Okay.
So I just wanted you to know that the attorney has worked on this, and there are outs. I think you'll be very satisfied as this gentleman standing here talking about working on 60 municipal projects. He didn't get them because he's out there doing bad work or giving bad information. So thank you.
Very welcome.
And are there any more questions?
Well, I just
Go
want to
ahead.
be clear, on page 19, all the amounts that this gentleman had mentioned, that these are not firm.
Yes, they are.
They are firm.
The lump sum numbers are, the percentage will move with the cost of the project. So, yes, we're doing a lump sum because we understand the scope of it well enough now to say that's the cost. So we can lock that number today.
No, I'm just concerned about all this money, because when we went into this, we didn't talk about how much it would cost or we knew there would be renovation and so forth like that. But it just seems that, this is gonna grow. This is just the first part. This has nothing to do with even purchasing anything. And already, we've committed a lot of money. It reminds me of the movie The Money Pit. And I just feel,
They didn't have an architect. It's-
I just feel that,
They did it
At
themselves.
least not Williams.
Wasn't Williams either, no.
anyway, I just feel that this is it, that this is the one part, and there's another money part, and there's another money part, and I'm very concerned. I just can't see where this ends, as far as money is concerned. That's my issue. Everything is firm here in the lump sum here. I'm looking at these prices, looking for the interior designer. I think that's a lot of money. I said this before at another meeting, and I'm not questioning their ability. I'm just questioning the cost, and I have nothing to compare it with. And people are questioning what kind of building are we building here? I mean, are we remodeling here? Is this, why can't it just be an office? Why does it have to be so, looks like it's gonna be so elegant? I'm questioning the amounts, and this isn't the end. When it comes to being able to control the amount of money that, in the different phases, I don't think we have much choice there either. There isn't going to be much difference in whether you choose this one or that one. It's just going to be small amounts.
Okay.
Mayor, can I
Go ahead,
suggest something?
Trustee Suisse.
Would would the board feel more comfortable if we do a consensus, if they don't feel like they have enough time to look through 22 pages? I don't know.
I'm not sure what you're saying. A consensus of what?
Not to take a vote, but just to see how people,
I'm ready to vote on it because we need to start moving along. Every time we get to a certain point, it's delay.
Okay.
This gentleman's been here 3 times. He's the owner of the company. He was selected by this group of people here. Our attorney, this is a legal document. I don't think you're going to understand much more than you asked the questions you've asked so far. That's why we have an attorney to review our stuff. We have out clauses if we're not satisfied with something, we just tell the gentleman, that we're either going to correct this or you're out, period. So there's your safeguards as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I would just, if I could just add a comment, that the architect's cost is fairly well fixed, except for the extras. The real cost is, I think as Trustee Costa pointed out, is in the cost of the materials and the construction that go into this, which is in the construction contract, which is going to be competitively bid. And as I understand the contract, what the architect's going to do is to, review the building and then say to you, here are different alternatives. Are you going to go with the oak? Are you going to go with the teak? Are you going to go with the plywood? Are you going to go with the composite? Are you going to go with carpeting? If it's going to be carpeting, what type of carpeting is it going to be? And those are all going to be in the bid specifications that you're going to send out for competitive bidding to the, to the potential contractors that are all going to be pre-qualified, which we asked them to do, and which I think is a great idea, and well worth the $3,000. So, I think regardless of what happens, the architect's costs, and I think Trustee Costa will agree, the architect's costs are fixed costs. And that's not changing. So the real thing is what are you going to do with the contractor? What are you going to put in there?
Okay, does everybody get that explanation from the village attorney? All right, then Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Okay.
Trustee Suisse?
Okay,
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kijana?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Motion carries.
Mayor, I would like one thing just added on, because we still haven't talked about that with the building, is any of the meetings that are out there, we asked 2 meetings ago that we're notified, so either myself or Trustee Suisse could make it, or any one of the trustees could make it to the, I
Right,
want to make sure that
everyone's
every
gonna be
meeting there is a
notified.
trustee there, so we know exactly. I don't want to hear it secondhand. I would rather hear it
Right.
with my own
What
ears.
Mark suggested when we talked about it, he's done so many of these projects, and in various communities, sometimes boards want to be more involved and sometimes less. So I asked Mark his advice on it. He said that he's noticed in previous projects that what often works is, send out a note to all the trustees, letting them know this is when we're going to be meeting, next Thursday at 2 or whatever. It's a good portion of the group involves staff, of course, so we have to do it like we've been doing it during the day at some point. And then ask the trustees to respond back. And just, will you be planning on making it? And if I get 2 elected officials that respond back, then I don't have to post for a regular village board meeting. And if I get 4 or 5, then I do. And that's kind of, I think, a good idea. That he's seen that work. I don't want to talk for, where'd Mark go? What's the rest? Okay, but that's the advice he gave me and how he's seen it work in other communities, so I think that that's probably how we'll do it. We'll have to plan it real good, because as you know, if we're gonna have a public meeting, we have to have it posted several days in advance.
Right. So if there's going to be 3 elected officials at any of those meetings, will he have to know, Cam will have to know 48 hours ahead of time so you can post it as a special meeting?
Okay, well, then the only thing is, then Cam's got to let us know 72 hours beforehand, so we can notify.
Right, at least.
Right, Mark and I will sit down and look at kind of scheduling out some meetings into the future.
Yeah, this is just the beginning of the contract with these guys, so we'll let everybody know when these meetings are, and if we need to post, then we'll post.
Okay.
And the contract also requires them to have at least X certain number of meetings with you in each one of the phases.
Okay.
A minimum number.
Thank you.
Okay, this would be, J2. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-046, an ordinance granting variance to permit a reduction of the required first floor masonry materials of an accessory structure, a variance for the maximum size of an accessory structure, and a variance for the minimum side yard setback of an accessory structure for the property commonly known as 17216 South Parker Road, Homer Glen, Illinois. Shrimp is the name, as recommended by the Plan Commission.
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa, second by Trustee Sabo. Is there any discussion? Madam,
Yes,
go ahead.
On page 5 of the Plan Commission memo, on page 4 of the Plan Commission memo, at the top of the page, it says, "The petitioner will be required to comply with the Water Resource Management Ordinance, which will help preserve the environmental features on the site." So I'd like to know exactly what the petitioner would be doing.
During the building permit process, he would have to have the engineering reviewed. So it would just be a normal engineering review to make sure there's no added stormwater runoff to the site.
Okay, one thing that I do commend Mr. Shrimp on is the fact that he has asked for 15 feet setback instead of the 15 feet, meaning that he's saving a lot of trees. And we do know that that's really very important, not only on the property, but we're losing a lot of trees in the village. So I commend him for that, plan. And I'm sure that he is sorry if he would have had to have removed all those trees. 12, I believe.
Okay, any further comment?
I just always like to add the petitioner is here in the back of the room. Thank you, sir. In case anybody else has any questions.
Okay, any further questions?
No,
Madam
I
Clerk?
just had just a quick comment, since this, the footage is almost double what the maximum structure size is. Has any of the residents have any problem, or is it pretty wooded where it's blocked?
We didn't have anyone come to the public hearing in against
I mean,
it
since
either.
there, no.
No, and we didn't receive any calls either.
Okay.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Janis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J3. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-047, an ordinance amending sections 2 and 11 of the ordinance number 14-021, providing for the control of alcoholic liquor within the village of Homer Glen?
So moved.
First by trustee Yukic.
Second.
Second by trustee K. Janis. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee K. Janis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J4. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-048, a text amendment to ordinance number 08-048 entitled "The Village of Homer Glen Zoning Ordinance," amending the special uses permitted in the A1 district regulations to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages in association with the planned development as recommended by the Plan Commission.
So moved.
First by trustee Yukic.
Second.
Second by trustee K. Janis. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to refer to the section pertaining events, and you have at your desk the Earth Day, Arbor Day event, and how Mr. Kono and the Environment Committee have worked together.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any other statements? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee K. Janis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J5. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 14-049, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a special use to permit a planned development and a special use to permit the sale of alcoholic beverages in association with the planned development for the property commonly known as 16849 South Cedar Road, parcels 16-08-28-200-009-000 and 16-05-28-200-011-0000, Homer Glen, Illinois, Kono,
Condition.
Now I'm going to get there. Conditioned upon compliance with a complete NFPA 13 fire suppression system and an NFPA 72 complete fire detection system for the buildings highlighted in green in Exhibit C and known as the Tilsey Barn, the Arcade Building, the Concession Building, and the In-Out Building, and the compliance with an NFPA 72 complete fire detection system for the building highlighted in pink and known as the Animal Barn, all subject to the following schedule. September, on or before September 11, 2014, fire detection and alarm system installed. On or before December 19, 2014, fire sprinkler system contractor selected and plans submitted to the Homer Township Fire Protection District. January 1st, 2015, Homer Township Fire Protection District will have the plans reviewed and will provide comments back to Mr. Kono. March 19, 2015, work will begin on the fire sprinkler system. July 19, 2015, installation of the fire sprinkler system completed. September 19, 2015, fire sprinkler system fully operational as recommended by the Plan Commission.
So moved.
So moved.
First by trustee, who was that down there? Yukich, second by trustee K. Janis. Any questions?
I have one. Walt, on the September 11th, 2014 fire detection alarm system installed, now that's all 4 buildings. Does that give you enough time? Because we're only a few weeks away from that right now.
Yeah, it does. They're starting to work on it today, and they're thinking 7 to 9 working days to get it completed, up and running.
And then the same thing with the sprinkler system for July 19th of 2015.
The installation of the actual sprinkler system, yes. Getting the water there, I'm hoping that it'll all work out. I'm planning on it.
Okay.
Okay.
If there are any hiccups along the way, I'm sure the board would want staff to bring that information to you.
Yes.
So that
Yes,
you-
please.
Yes.
You can consider whatever we need
Extension.
to do. So-
If
Is
anything
there-
comes up, you guys will be the first to know.
Well, it's good to work with that way. So.
Is there any other questions? Ma'am?
Mayor, did someone from his party want to say something?
No.
Only if you had questions.
If we had
Oh,
questions,
okay.
then.
Just a comment, Walt, you've been a great part of our community. Good luck with this.
I'm trying.
Do next week.
I want to do it right.
Keep trying. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Just a note,
Go ahead.
just to note that also there's an amendment to the, to one of the, to the Environment Committee working Earth Day, Arbor Day. So, and that's just the same as it was for J4. Just wanted to
Okay.
make note of that.
Thank you, duly noted. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee K. Janis.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Swee.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations, Walt. Thank you. This would be J6. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-050, an ordinance amending section 13 of ordinance number 14-021, providing for the control of alcoholic liquor within the village of Homer Glen? It is understood that the number of Class L liquor licenses, agritourism operation, will increase from 0 to 1 within the village of Homer Glen.
So moved.
First by, I believe that was trustee Costa. Second by, who was the second? That came from trustee Swees. Is there any questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Swee.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Trustee K. Janis.
Aye.
Okay, this would be J7. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-051, an ordinance assigning an available Class L liquor license agritourism operation to Walter Kono, DBA Kono's Corn Maze, located at 16849 South Cedar Road, parcels 16-05-28-200, 16-009-0000 and 16-05-28-200-011-0000, Homer Glen, Illinois.
I so move.
First by trustee Sabo.
I second.
Second by trustee Suisse. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kajanis?
Aye.
Trustee Sago?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, this would be 8, J8. Is there a motion to approve the attached agreement with Civic Plus for website design, implementation, and maintenance services in the amount of $38,049 per the village's review of the agreement? It is understood that this agreement includes an annual service fee beginning in year 2 in the amount of $5,504. It is further understood that the agreement is for a period of 4 years, and the cost comes in under budget totals.
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
Second.
second by trustee Kajanis. Tonight, we're going to hear a short presentation from staff members that worked on this project. Deputy Clerk, Office Manager Elena Bowes, Assistant to the Village Manager Heather Kokodinsky, and Village Receptionist Account Clerk Kathy Carrick. Following their presentation, Brian Halbeck, the Regional Sales Manager from Civic Plus, will also provide a short presentation. Staff and Mr. Halbeck will be available to answer questions from the board after their presentation. Ladies, whenever you're ready, go right ahead.
Mayor, as they're walking up to the podium, I just want to say, combined, the three of them have probably spent, I would guess, over 100 hours on this project. They've really taken it to their heart and soul, and they're going to tell you a little bit about all the good work they've done, but they won't sing their praises, so I just want to thank them very much for everything they've done to bring it to this point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Village's first website was started by a village volunteer right after we were incorporated, and our first village clerk, Christine Luttrell, took over as the website master and worked on our village website up until March of this year when she retired. Our website has been around for a while. I became involved in helping Chris with the contents and updates in about 2006, and in 2009 with some help from the CED committee, we kind of looked at looking into a fresh look for our website. Chris and I kind of put together a design to freshen up our website, add some functionality to it, and that's the site we're still working with today. The Business Connect site was developed by a private party in about 2010. Since Chris retired, I've been kind of maintaining the site, which has been an intensive learning process. Most of the website updates take a considerable amount of time. They're cumbersome. A lot of it involves 8 to 10 steps just to put something on our homepage. Most of it is in code. We're working with Microsoft Expression, which is a website software. We're looking to change our website, to update it, to give the village a new look, a site that is manageable for staff, and we've done a lot of research. Through the implementation and updating to a newer content management site, any of the staff members would be able to add content to our current site, publish it through an interface dashboard without having to rely on an actual webmaster. This, as you can see, would significantly enhance our staff's ability to keep the website up to date with current information. And using CMS and Google Maps would intensely help our website be more efficient and up to date with other municipalities.
So Elena, as long as you're standing up there, Elena, real quick, so just let the board know a simple document like taking an approved set of minutes, like the ones tonight, like 20-some pages, PDF document. What do you have, what kind of time, that in the new system, the new page, that'll be point and click, done in an instant. What do you have to do now just to get that one document?
Pretty
up
much
on our
drag and
website?
drop with the new system. I have to log in. I have to go through about 5 steps just to log into the website to get it functioning, so I can then, I have to type in a lot of the code to put the actual content in there, and then I have to hyperlink it to a new document. So it usually takes 8 to 10 steps just to post minutes to the website.
And that's probably one of the simplest changes that you do to the website, post an existing document. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to go through the process that staff went through in order to select the vendor that you have before you. So in April, staff put out an announcement that the village will be accepting proposals for website design, implementation, and maintenance services. The goal of the RFP was to solicit responses from vendors skilled in local government website design who are able to create user-friendly, interactive, and informative websites. And then mid-May, we received proposals from Municipal CMS, AmericanEagle.com, and also from Civic Plus. Manager Davis then delegated the review and analysis of those proposals to a website committee, which is comprised of myself, Yelena Bose, and Kathy Carrick. Following the review of the proposals, I set up interviews with each of the vendors. During the interview process, we looked at sample sites that each of the vendors had worked on with municipal clients. We looked at the functionality that these sites had. We went through the back end of the site or the content management system, as Yelena had discussed, so that we could see how we would be able to add and remove information from the sites. We were thrilled with the new technology of being able to do e-alerts and to basically track any service requests that came into the village. So following the completion of the interviews, we went through and we each selected a vendor to thoroughly vet and assess their capabilities in relation to what the village needed for the new website. So I selected Municipal CMS, Yelena worked with AmericanEagle.com, and Kathy went and worked with Civic Plus. So we contacted the references, we received glowing reviews from all of them. The committee then reconvened, we looked at the sites again. We then determined that Municipal CMS was the best fit for us. That's based on the understanding that they have over 1,600.
Civic Plus. You meant to say Civic Plus.
I'm sorry, Civic Plus.
Yeah, that was your assignment, so you just thought of them. Yeah.
So
I
knew I was going to do that.
He had a heart attack right there behind you.
So Civic Plus has over 1,600 municipal clients. They are skilled in municipal sites because of that. They also offer free e-alerts. They do a free refresh of our website in 4 years. And then they also offer ongoing training as part of their contract. So we took a look at the base contract and they offered options. We selected 3 options we thought would be a benefit. One of those options was the creation of a soft launch site, which is a very basic site, but would allow us to provide information quickly and just to get us through until we get to the permanent site. And we won't get to a permanent site until about 20 to 22 weeks. So it's important to have something in place in the interim. We also selected on-site training for staff to go through. We felt it was important to be able to have the bulk of staff available to interact with someone, learn about working through the website so that they can upload information with respect to the current departments. The third thing that we thought was important was design consultation. We wanted to work with the designers so that we could have a look that was distinctly Homer Glen. So our fiscal year 2014-2015 budget allocated $65,000 to this project. We are very happy. We've come in under budget significantly at $38,049. And with that $38,049, that covers the first year of the agreement, which is the creation of the website, and also the services provided. In the second year, there would be an annual service fee that would start for $5,504, and that would include hosting, licensing, updates, and software. And I'll let Kathy.
I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the responsive design capabilities of Civic Plus and what that would mean to our residents. More users visit websites, and you probably did today yourself, using their phones, tablets, and laptops. The responsive design of Civic Plus will enable our residents and businesses using their mobile devices to access the same content and the same features of the village website as if they were sitting at home using their laptop. We'll be able to send out information alerts, which would have been handy. We could have sent out an alert letting our residents know to expect their electric aggregation letter from Homefield. Storm cleanup procedures can be sent out. And it would be useful for all of our village festivals and the special events that we have going on. We'd also be able to push out emergency alerts, such as an emergency road closure, traffic signal malfunctions. Staff would be able to update us, Heather said, from any internet connection. And we'd have 24/7 technical support with Civic Plus. They have a client list of 1,600 municipalities. I spoke to several of them, and what all of them mentioned was that they reach a lot of people, they get a lot of feedback, and they use that feedback to change and update their content management system. And if we are one of their clients, that will also happen for our website. I do think that this particular company with our website would be a great way to engage our residents and to market this community.
Thank you. Brian, would you like to say a couple words?
Sure.
They did such a good job for you.
Yeah,
You might want to keep it to a minimum.
PowerPoint.
You have nowhere to go but down.
You can't have them, they're too busy at the village.
Yeah.
They're staying with the village.
Great job, ladies. And I just wanted to say it was great to work with you as well, and I think their presentation was probably the best I've heard of any intro in 5 years, so great job. So, I'll be brief. I don't want to put you guys through a training. It's the last thing I want to do, but I want to give you a brief overview of Civic Plus, what's to come, and give you an idea of what the new front door of the village will look like, and some of the capabilities behind it. So, short PowerPoint here. We'll talk a little bit about the company. We'll talk about the model. We'll look at some of the functionalities included. I have a couple sample sites that we can look at, one of which I know the group really liked in our presentation in terms of design. So yeah, we can be brief here. Civic Plus is up to actually about 1,700 clients. Today we're based out of Manhattan, Kansas. We have clients in every state. Illinois is one of our biggest states. We do have about 100 clients in Illinois. So rest assured, it is a custom design process. So we'll start with a blank white screen for your design and work from that point forward. So a lot of clients in Illinois. Been in business for over 10 years. We have about 200 staff on board, so a lot of expertise, a lot of best practices that we can lend to this project for you guys. So we do work only with cities and counties and government entities. So we really know the process well when it comes to what you guys need and what business improvement would need as well, being that we do work with economic development, chambers, CBBs, tourism type clients as well. So just very well versed in government. Want it to be more than just a website for you guys. Want to allow for things like online payments. We want you guys to be able to receive that total cost of ownership on a project. Allow for residents to be able to transact online. Better efficiencies with pushing information out. Residents aren't going to come to the website every week or every month, no matter how well we build it. So we want to push information out via text message, via emails, alerts to them. And also better engagement, pulling information in, feedback from the residents in, being able to crowdsource information on projects that you guys might have going on, parks that you might be thinking about building, being able to take service requests over the website, which improves customer service as well. So more than just a static website, really an entire e-government platform. The process, project manager is included, design is custom. We'll work with you on all the content development on the main site. So we'll bring all the content to the new site. We'll rewrite it by hand and make sure it's relevant and not just copied and pasted into the new site. Training is going to be on site, so we'll be here for 3 days face-to-face with staff. A lot of functionality, so we want to make sure staff are very comfortable with being trained on the system. We do include an account manager. I know that was referenced. The support is 24/7, 365. I will mention that Ferguson, Missouri is one of our clients as well, so that would be a good case to look into, the support that we've provided for them, and we do with all of our clients. And times like tornadoes and things happening like that, if you can't update content on the site or if you need extra assistance, you can always just call us and we'll be there for you. So we'll be there all the time. Continuous upgrades and enhancements, anytime we build anything, you simply receive it. The site will be fully ADA compliant for disabilities compliance, also Civic Plus University for online training for staff and turnover and things like that. And then also Civic Plus Connection for taking client feedback based on new functionalities for the site. And just proceeding forward, we had talked about hosting and redesign. The site will be hosted. It's a secure data center based out of Kansas City, Missouri. We have 2 other data centers. One is Omaha, Nebraska, and also one is Manhattan, Kansas, back at home base. And I know that I think Heather had mentioned a redesign of the website every 4 years. It's not just at the 4-year mark, it's every 4 years. So every 4 years, it will be a full site redesign. And just some functionalities included. We found that our clients do struggle with better calendaring. So just a screenshot of the calendar. I took some screenshots to show you guys today so you can get a general idea of what some of the modules look like to help with engagement and pushing information out. But the calendar, you'll see it's sortable based on categories. Different topics can be entered. The Notify Me module is going to push information out to the residents so they can actually come in to the module. They can define exactly what items they want to receive, whether it be a newsletter or an alert or a bid posting or a job posting, and then receive updates on that depending on what they opt into. So text and email messages going out to residents, contractors, businesses, people looking to follow certain areas of the website.
So Brian, just to be clear about that, because I know we've been dealing with it with you for a long time, and so residents will have the opportunity to go, and there'll be a drop-down menu that says, like, I don't know, 10, 20 different things. And they will actually make the choice about what kind of information they want to receive from us. So we won't have to be involved in that. They won't be calling Kathy to say, could you send me this, could you send me that, could I know about this, could I know about that? They'll have the opportunity to control the flow of information directly to them. So that's just far and beyond what we're currently able to do. So that's outstanding. Thank you. Didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Sure. Thanks, Kim. So that's a great module for pushing information out. The request management module is going to be able to take information in. So different online forms can be filled out online. The resident can fill it out whenever they want at their own leisure and discretion. It will be automatically routed to the appropriate department with full workflow, mapping, reassignment, notification capabilities, where Homer Glen staff can come in and actually manage these requests that come in. So it's great because the resident can fill it out online anytime and not have to call in or walk in now, but staff can better manage and report on these items. And it does send an automated email as well. So once it is completed, that email is sent back. So not only is it helping with the process of taking information in and managing it, but it's helping with customer service because you're notifying the resident when it's closed as well. So great module that's just built in. And it's very easy to use for the resident and for staff as well. So just some screenshots there. The system will allow for online forms and e-commerce capabilities. So if you would want to set up some of those online forms to pull information in, that would be fine. Also for online payments, if you're thinking about putting some of those licenses or payment types online that you've been considering throughout the past, now would be a good time to consider that because the system would handle some of those unique payment types like a parking ticket or a pet tag or a parking village sticker maybe. It's very easy to process online through the system. Going on, better agenda management. So the system will allow you to create agendas internally within the system. Also, you can see here on this screenshot, very easy to use for the resident. You can show the minutes, the link to the video. You can show the packet, previous versions of the agenda as well. So just very easy to interact with agendas and minutes now. dashboard. Citizens can come in, businesses can come in, and create a custom viewing experience of the website. So you'll see they can actually pull in different pieces of the website to follow in different areas. So again, improving communications in that area. This is our community voice module. We're kind of progressing up to some of the more unique ones here, starting with calendar, working our way up to email and text, working our way up to citizen feedback. So this is a newer module, and some of our clients really embrace it. Other ones kind of run away from it, so it's up to you guys. But community voice would allow you to post a topic. One might be economic development ideas, and actually take feedback from residents based on some of those topics in that area, and they can vote it up and vote it down. So it's a good way to get citizens engaged and get that new feedback from them, because they might not be coming to board meetings. They might be working now. So a good channel of information that you could definitely use if you wanted to. I know Kathy mentioned responsive design. This is a big one for websites nowadays. It's probably one of the primary factors for web redesigns that we're seeing. But you'll see one of our clients here is Snohomish County, Washington. They house City of Everett, so a pretty big county. But I took a screenshot of the site, just all the way open. And this would be one to look at on a smartphone as well. It's snowco.org. And you'll see on the right is a screenshot of the mobile view. So what it does is it actually crops the site down to that full mobile view, and you're not losing any of your design elements or information. You're just getting a mobile view. And the same will happen with tablets and also with very large monitors or economic development presentations. You won't have those black bars on the sides of the website because it's going to migrate to the device that is accessing the website. Content management, we had talked about that being a content management system here for the RFP, and very easy to use. You'll see staff can log in from anywhere to start working with the content. This is the dashboard. Once they come in, they can actually create templates on the website with drag and drop functionality. So actually dragging in different modules, different pieces of content into that template to get that template to be the way they want it to be. Very easily, no coding, it's all visual, it's happening in front of staff as they're doing it, and then being able to push that out to the website and publish that page. So coding is eliminated. You can still access the code if you need to for some reason, but the drag and drop and live edit technology has been working very well. So ease of use is very high, even though the functionality is very strong. So just a quick view of the calendar, clicking on events, clicking on categories, entering new events. You'll see the big green add event button right there. So everything is very intuitive for staff. So we see that adoption and ease of use being very strong. So I know we've looked at modules. I have the Erie, Colorado site pulled up, Cam, if you want to show that. It's up to you.
Just real quick, if you could. Now, the interesting thing about this is going to be tailored to what we'd like. And the staff committee is going to remain intact, and they'll get more feedback from staff and from board members. There'll be a point where you'll probably be asked to choose one or the other kind of styles. But the three ladies who've done the yeoman's work for this, great work they've done, they're going to continue on as our committee. And they're going to work with Civic Plus to get us to an end game. But he could show you literally hundreds of different sites. It doesn't mean this is what ours is going to look like. But why don't you go ahead and just show them a couple.
We'll go on Erie, that third link right there.
This one?
Yes, the one where, yep. So this is one that we've been seeing a lot of interest in nationwide in our meetings. This is Erie, Colorado. It's actually their second site with us. They've been with us for about 8 years now. So you'll see, looking at this site, it's using a lot of newer technologies. One is what we call a PNG slideshow. Rather than having that box slideshow that we're so used to seeing on websites and government websites, this one doesn't utilize that box. It utilizes just images that are opaque, making it more marketing-esque, just more fun and more vibrant. And this site really speaks for the fact that government websites don't have to be three-column websites. They don't have to be boring anymore. We can make them more inviting and more engaging. So you'll see Erie, the slideshow, very prominent, site search on top. If you want to scroll up a little bit, you'll see some of the navigation above that, transparency, the I want to button, highlighting some of those key areas that residents are coming to the site on. You want to hover over the transparency tab, You'll see that's a big menu drop down now. You're not having to worry about those little flyouts that come down and have to fidget with it on an iPhone or tablet. Now it's just a nice big menu that drops down. It's very touchable on the tablet device. So not only will the view be mobile friendly, the navigation will be mobile friendly as well. And you'll see on the left-hand side of the site, if you want to scroll down, you can watch that bar on the left where it says news and calendar, events, maps. That's actually going to follow the resident or visitor throughout their navigation experience. Oops. So scrolling down to the very bottom of the site, you'll see that bar will follow you. Very good spotlighting. This can be scrollable, so you can actually touch it on an iPad and scroll through the items. And then scrolling down, you'll see different segmented areas for news and calendar. Connect, you'll see that it's scrollable with those news arrows right there, being able to touch those on a tablet and scroll through your news, and not have to have a website that drags on forever. So just a different design we've seen. You'll see the footer information at the very bottom of the site if you want to scroll down. Pretty traditional to have address, location, things like that. But this is one that's been getting a lot of good feedback because, again, it's just different. So custom design, if you like it, great. If you don't, it'll be a custom design.
Thank you. I have a question for you. If I heard you correctly, you said that every 4 years you redo the website?
Right.
Is that what you said?
Right.
And you're doing you operate 1,700 municipal sites and what have you. Is the hardware 4 years from now reusable, or are you basically having to buy a whole new set of hardware for the upgrade that takes place in 4 years?
Okay, great question. The redesign is just built into the contract, so no hardware required, no software. We're actually investing into the product as time goes on, so as new modules are released, you'll receive those upgrades to the calendar, to the request tracker. Those are all happening in real time as you go on. So once that 4-year redesign is eligible, it's a graphic redesign. We'll migrate your content as well, and if sites nowadays are being built in HTML5, if at that time HTML7 is the trend, the site will be built in HTML7. So it's just built into the contract, and we're taking care of all the technology as time goes on, and every 4 years you'll just receive that redesign.
Okay. Does anybody, Mike?
Just, actually all my questions were answered by staff and by you. I think my biggest concern is that, a lot of times we're all getting online and we're looking at websites and trying to find something. I just want to make sure that ours is as user-friendly as we possibly can. I think the frustration comes in any of us is when you get on the website, you're looking for information, you keep going through it, and it just make it as user-friendly as you can. So if someone wants to find, let's say, an ordinance, they can click something that says ordinances, easy to find it, and it pulls it right up. That's my only comment.
That's a great point. 3 clicks and under has been the trend. We practiced that. The mega menu tab that we saw drop down, the icons on the website, best practices, working with your content, designing your navigation, all of that will be taken into account to achieve that goal.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I think this is more for staff because they've worked with the 3 companies, and this was on attachment A. And maybe I would like to know, when you look at the different categories, Civic Plus and the one municipal, I don't know who worked on that, Heather, okay. They look almost identical, except that there's almost a double price difference. Can you explain that?
Sure. Well,
I was just curious.
it's a valid question. When you look and compare Civic Plus to Municipal CMS, one of the things that we noticed was that their staff, as Brian had said, is about 200 staff members. Municipal CMS is 5 staff members. Our concern was, what if something were to happen and we couldn't get a hold of somebody? We felt more comfortable knowing that we would have supports 24/7, 365, and that they're working. Municipal CMS has 80 government sites and 5 staff members. We just felt like they would be stretched thin in dealing with us. Another thing that we looked at was the property inventory and search, and also integrated mapping tools. Municipal CMS doesn't offer that. When you look at any of their economic development portions of their site, it's very basic. It's spreadsheet material. When you go on Civic Plus, it's interactive. You can put in a search, for example, a retail space of 800 square feet off of Bell Road. A map will pop up, the retailer's information will pop up, an aerial will pop up. It's just very more detailed.
Yeah, it's like
Night and day.
night and day, completely
It really
night and day.
is.
And I'd also say, not just because Brian's in the room, but I actually got a chance to sit in on the interviews and listen to staff ask the questions and whatnot. And the difference on the presentation side, on the original interview, was also, in my opinion, kind of night and day. So there's pretty major differences that don't easily translate to the spreadsheet on attachment A that you got.
Okay, Sharon, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's with the property, looking into
Okay.
various properties is a good idea, as long as we don't look too much like a real estate broker. Keep it a government type of.
That's the goal.
Okay.
Municipal site.
Okay.
Okay, are
Thank
there
you.
any other questions? Marcia?
Just, one of the things that I know we talked about at Admin and Finance is the ability to update on a timely basis. And I think that the issue on the emergency notification is going to be greatly, enhanced, I'm sure, as this moves forward. When we have storms, when people need to find out what is going on in the community, that's going to be where they're going to go. And they'll learn that over time once this website is going. And also, the interaction with the residents, their ability to go on there and ask questions and get an answer. I think that that's absolutely a must. So I'm looking forward to this site.
If I could also point to another difference between municipal CMS and Civic Plus. When you brought up emergency notifications, one of the municipalities I'd spoken to, I said, well, if there's one thing you could change about municipal CMS, what would it be? Her biggest gripe was that she could only push out e-alerts at one time during the day. So, for example, if she can only push out an e-alert at 1 o'clock and an emergency happens at 2, she has to wait till the next day to push that
Oh, my
out.
goodness.
Civic Plus is not, Civic Plus is more responsive than that. We can push out an e-alert whenever we need it to.
Well, that's
So that was another important factor that we looked at.
Good, good. Any further questions?
I do.
Go right ahead.
We know there's a lot of information that has been put on the website, and sometimes it's taken off and preserved somewhere. Okay, so that somebody can search for information and it will pop up. So in switching over, is it? I would hate to see any of this archival information lost. Is there any possibility of that? How is that held? If you need it, because there's a lot of information that sometimes people are searching back.
I'm going to charge the committee, once the board approves this, to come up with an SOP for the website, which we've never had before, that talks about everything from who has access to it, who has access to what parts, to what we archive and how aggressively we archive, what we keep on the site and what we don't keep on the site. And that SOP will find its way through the committee structure and to the village board so that you can all look at it and discuss it and debate it just like all the SOPs do. I wanted, obviously, to get to this point first, but there'll be an SOP that comes on the backside. And one of there's actually a lot of good reasons why we would do an SOP, but if you think about it, one of the most exciting things about this site to me is a true community calendar. Okay, so the chamber has a calendar, the school district has a calendar, we have a calendar, there's all these independent calendars, but none of them go together, none of them sync together. So one of the things that we might do, the committee might do, is bring together some of the governmental entities in the community some of the nonprofits that we work closely with, like the Chamber, and figure out a way that various people, specifically assigned people, can gain entry to the community calendar portion and upload a homecoming or upload a chamber event that's coming. So there's a lot of exciting things, but we'll have to put that in an SOP, and the committee's going to work on that.
Well, I just want
And
to...
so that'll deal with the archiving, and they'll come up with a plan for archiving.
Well, okay, because I was looking for some history on, because we were doing tree planting, I was looking at what pictures or photos were taken in years past. And there wasn't a link to it, or I didn't find a link readily. So that kind of information, wouldn't be lost. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, the goal is to archive as much as possible and not to lose the past history. That'll be actually, I think this site will probably end up protecting that historical information more than our existing site has been able to.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, are there any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee K.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
I would like to say something in regard to the ladies that worked on this. I thought...
One second. Motion carries. Go right ahead.
Sorry. That you did a wonderful job, very detailed, and appreciate the presentation.
Thank you. Okay, this would be J9. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-052, an ordinance restricting parking along US Route 6, Illinois Route 7, 159th Street, within the corporate boundaries of Homer Glen, from Gauger Road to Wilcook Road? It is understood that the ordinance number 14-052 will be attached as an Exhibit C to the Village of Homer Glen's current agreement with IDOT for the 159th Street Improvement Project.
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa,
Second.
second by Trustee Swees. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee K.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J10. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-053, an ordinance prohibiting the discharge of sanitary sewage waste or industrial wastewater into any storm sewer or drainage facility constructed as part of the 159th Street Improvement Project? It is understood that the ordinance number 14-053 will be attached as Exhibit D to the Village of Homer Glen's current agreement with IDOT for the 159th Street Improvement Project.
I so move.
First by Trustee Sabo,
I second.
second by, who was that down there? Trustee Swees. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee K.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Trustee Costa?
Aye, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. This would be J11. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-054, an ordinance authorizing stop signs in the Village of Homer Glen, Illinois, by updating previously approved stop sign ordinances?
So moved.
First by Trustee Yukic.
Second.
Second by Trustee Costa. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Mayor, if I could just real quick, I know it's getting late, but a lot of staff members have done a lot of good work on your agenda tonight, and Jim Olkowski, who you guys know is part-time with us, again, has spent countless hours on this, going through the community and double-checking, making, obviously you have hundreds of stop signs that are a part of this list, and he's double-checked all of them, visited all of them, documented them. So I just want to thank Jim for all his hard work on this. Thank
Okay.
you.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee K.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J12. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 14-005, a resolution authorizing a $426,961.80 reduction of letter of credit number 68090-479 for Myers from the current LOC amount of $474,402 to the new LOC amount, of $47,440.20. It is understood that the development has been completed and that this will reduce the LOC to 10% of the original LOC amount in accordance with the warranty requirements of Section 7.3 of the Village's subdivision ordinance.
So moved.
First by trustee Yukich.
Second.
Second by trustee Kay Janis. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Pasca?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kay Janice?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J13. Is there a motion to authorize the village manager to petition the Plan Commission to initiate a text amendment that would amend sections 3.2 definitions, Table 2A, the table of permitted and special uses, non-residential only, and Section 8.0 general provisions of the zoning ordinance to permit and control the use of donation drop-off facilities in the village of Homer Glen.
I so move.
First by trustee, that was Suisse.
Second.
Second by trustee DeVivo. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Pasca?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kay Janice?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Okay, this would be J14. Is there a motion to approve mayor and village board standard operation procedure number 011 entitled Village of Homer Glen Public Parkway Tree Replacement Program?
I so move.
First by trustee Sabo,
I second.
second by trustee Suisse. Staff member Sue Stylen will be providing a brief presentation on a proposed public parkway tree replacement program. Sue, whenever you're ready.
So Mayor Sue stands up. Tonight is just like a great staff project on parade situation because we've just had so much good work from your village staff. I'm very proud of all of them. Sue, obviously in conjunction with the Environment Committee, has created a draft document that's in front of you that I am sure, if it's approved and put into action, is going to be requested and copied many times over by many communities. She has really done yeoman's work on this with the Environment Committee. I want to applaud her efforts. And Sue, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me? All right, the purpose of this program is to replace public parkway trees, and I want to emphasize that that's public parkway trees. The village has experienced a loss of many trees just due to normal aging and disease, but especially due to the emerald ash borer. And since April of 2012, we've started keeping track of tree removals, and that has been several hundred. And we estimate that it'll be 1,000 by the end of 2015. The draft program proposes that the replacement trees are to be planted in residential areas, and all the costs for the labor and purchase of the trees will be provided by the village, and residents would be required to provide water and care for the tree. Trimming and everything later would be turned over to the village once the tree is planted. This is going to be on a first-come, first-served basis. We've kept track of the tree removals. The idea would be that letters would go out to residents and with an application form, and they would mail that form back or drop it off at the village office, and that's where the first-come, first-served basis would be, is the order that the forms are received. We currently have a recommended street tree list, and we've gone over that list, and we would select give the residents a choice of 3 trees from that list for planting in the parkway when we send out that letter. So the process would begin that we would receive the letter back, or the application back from the resident, and we would also send out to bid probably a request for trees. And once the staff has been able to look at the site and approve the site, we would notify the residents that we are going to plant a tree. Now, it would be 1 tree per parcel, Sometimes you will see that there are 2 trees planted in an area. They're planted close together. There might be a driveway or a street sign, a street light in the way, so a tree may not always be replaced because it's not planted properly in a proper location. And other than that,
So I think, so staff, it's always good for the village board to kind of know on a staff level who kind of manages this all the way through. So this is a team project between Heather and Sue in terms of the management of the backside. Sue is clearly going to take over more responsibilities related to our public parkway trees on our staff level as time goes on. And of course, we have a village arborist who we all have just an outstanding working relationship with. I think everybody on staff can sing his praises. And he will continue, as long as we're able to keep him and he wants to do it. He will continue in his role and he'll be a big part of this replacement program too. The difference from today into the future is since we started to take a more active role in public parkway trees and just emerald ash borer trees on private property, Heather Kokodinsky has really been working closely with the arborist. Over time, that responsibility will shift over to Sue, and she will be playing more of an active role in helping to restore the tree canopy in the public parkways here in town. So, which is the reason why she was tasked with this with the Environment Committee in addition to being the staff liaison. And one of the things she hasn't mentioned is what she did was she gathered, Sue, how many communities do you suppose you did research on all in total? Probably close to between 10 and 20, probably.
yeah, at least.
So she got a lot of good information from a lot of different communities and cherry-picked all the good stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I think ultimately this policy, if it's approved tonight, will end up getting copied by other communities, because she's really done a nice job pulling together.
The funding, if I have it correct, is the $500,000 we put.
Right, you took a $500,000 from, right, you took a $500,000 from general revenue reserve and put it into a special fund just to fund tree replacements going on.
And now
going
the
forward.
program is taking shape.
Right, now it's taking shape, and this year, in this year's budget, you designated about $125,000. It's obviously, if you spend less, you spend less. If you spend more, the village board can make a decision on that, but you have that general pool right now of $500,000.
Okay,
so.
Thank you. Any questions for Sue?
Just a quick question, when the resident gets the letter to, in the application, are they gonna have, in Exhibit E, are they gonna have these pictures of the trees so they can look at them and see some information, or just a list?
Probably just a list, and we could refer them to the website and have, depending on how the website is, we could have a link to information about the tree, but to print all of that out, as well as some of these photos are copyrighted, and it would be better to just link them.
So what we'll try to do, Trustee Costa, is get as much information as we can on the temporary website, so we can get, because I think that's a real good point, and that's one of the reasons Sue has spent so much time trying to get photos of these different trees, because some people have in their mind what a specific maple or what a specific tree is, but in reality, it's not what that tree is. So I think that's one of the great things about this program is Sue is really dedicated to the educational side of it. So we'll try to push out as much educational information as we can.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Any further questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo? Aye. Trustee Tejanis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Sweeney?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So Mayor, just real quick on that, this approval tonight, in my mind, gives me direction to have Sue move with the Environment Committee now expeditiously to get this out to the people that qualify. So we're going to be moving pretty quickly and get the program moving forward.
That's my understanding.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, that concludes legislative and action items.
May I say something?
Yes, go right ahead.
I want to thank Sue for the presentation and all her research and time and working with the Environment Committee, and it's really well worth the effort, and appreciate what all you've done.
Okay, thank you. That concludes legislation and action items. Next portion of this business is old business, and I know Trustee Yukich brought up something on Woodbine.
Well, basically what it is what we talked about last meeting. We just want to bring it before the board in 2 weeks as an action item.
That's fine.
Mayor,
Okay.
I'll ask this fatal question, which I probably shouldn't ask, but I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. What comes forward in 2 weeks will, like, as an example, you mentioned the motion that Marcia mentioned at the last meeting. That motion, I can't remember every word of it, Marcia, you have to help me, but that motion was basically to honor the existing management agreement and not move forward with a extension of the agreement. That was Marcia's motion. I'm not certain that that's the motion that you want to see on the next agenda, and I don't want everybody to be upset if it's not, you know, what your expectations are. If your expectation is that you would like to see a question about whether or not, yes or no, on extending, then I just want to be clear about that. And then the other thing is the agreement that we currently have with the operator of our golf course, our public golf course, is not an agreement that necessarily could automatically be extended because there isn't anything in there about compensation or anything like that. So if your question on that agenda is to extend, let's say, for a year, I would think that you'd want to give either the village attorney or myself or somebody the authority in the next couple weeks to sit down with the vendor, if that's what you want, and negotiate a draft extension. Otherwise, if you make a motion just at your next meeting if you take a vote to extend it, and let's say that vote is favorable, you could pick either side, but if it's favorable, then there'd have to be yet another vote, right, on an actual agreement that would take it another 2 weeks later. So I'm trying to just understand where you want to do so everybody can be on the same page, and we not waste any more time than you want to.
Let me get the
Go right ahead.
The best thing to do is to put on the agenda for the next meeting the same statement that was on there before. As we explained in a memo that was in comments to the board members, that statement was sufficiently precise for regular board meeting. So that provides a lot of latitude as to a specific motion to do a specific thing.
And that language was what?
Well, whatever was on, I don't have the agenda from the last meeting, but whatever the agenda said the last time is sufficient for your purposes at the next meeting.
The motion was that Marcia
No, it's
made.
not the motion.
Oh, I'm
The
sorry.
statement, that the actual item that was on the agenda, that will be sufficient for the next general meeting, so that you can decide to vote, make a motion to extend it, to direct the manager and the attorney, or one or the other, to negotiate an extension, to cancel the agreement, whatever you want to do, that item, as it was listed on the agenda, would be sufficient for all those purposes.
All right, well, we want this done and behind us, whether it goes either way. So I would say, Cameron, with what you just said, is make up an agreement. And if it is passed that we agree to it, he's got the agreement. If we pass it, there is no agreement and it's a dead issue, then it's a dead issue.
Let me just interject that the problem with that is that there's no direction from the board as to what's going to be in that agreement. What's in the current agreement is that the management company receives as compensation the net revenue for the facility. So they pay all the expenses and they get what's left over. So would the motion be next week that it's to be the same agreement, or it's to be a different agreement?
Well, when I discussed this with the mayor said that he was going to talk to you to have lawyer get together with their lawyer get together with you, draw up an agreement if they want to accept it or if they don't want to accept it.
I know, but what I'm saying is what I need is direction from the board as to this is what's to be in the agreement. That these are going to be the terms of the agreement. We're going to extend it for another year. Okay, we understand that. What is their compensation? What are they going to be responsible for? And that's something that the board needs to discuss and give us direction on how to proceed.
The motion that Marcia made during discussion last time was to honor the existing contract, which terminated December 31st, 2014. That was the motion she put on the table. She had a first and a second, And I think certain people weren't ready to vote on it at that time, but I specifically remember that that's how Marcia's motion read. And then we went to adjournment instead of voting on it.
Right. What I'm saying is that what's going to give all of you the most latitude at the next meeting is if you put on the agenda the same action item that was on the last agenda, which was...
It was old business.
Village board members' discussion with Jim Ludwig, so it could just say discussion regarding the Woodbine Golf Course and the existing Woodbine Golf Course Management Agreement. That's sufficient. That covers all the bases.
Attorney Stirk, I have a question, I have a comment to that.
Hold on, we're
Okay.
working at this end first.
Right. So you can put on whatever you want on the agenda. I'm saying that this is sufficient for your purposes because there's no consensus about what you're going to do. And I'm happy to meet with his lawyer and talk, but there's nothing for us to talk about because we don't have direction from you about what's going to be in the agreement.
All right.
Okay.
Here, Mayor, we tried getting some of this done over the last few months, and something happened every week that came before us. So next year, he won't have any access to any of the banquet facilities. So that cuts into what his first agreement was. There will be no taxes on the property, so that cuts into what he would have to pay out there.
There were no taxes on the property this year.
There are no taxes on the property this year,
Right.
and there won't be next year.
Right.
He does have to pay some sort of a rent. He does have to maintain the grass, and I would think that if he's going to be responsible for the utilities, we would have to make sure it was metered for strictly the restaurant area, because it wouldn't be fair for him to pay I don't know how they have it work there, if they have 2 meters, because it was built in 2 separate buildings. So it's something that we have to discuss with them. But I don't want to come to this thing again next week. We're holding off too many things. As the mayor said before, he doesn't want to send an RFQ out for engineering until we decide what we're doing here, which to me makes no difference. They can still do it whether he's there or he's not there. But
He can't pay, excuse me.
they can't do the engineering.
He can't pay rent because rent converts it into a lease.
All right.
And
Well,
lease
then-
makes it taxable.
Okay.
So, what he gets is, so what you get under a management agreement is you get a management fee.
Okay.
And the way the old agreement and the way this agreement worked was that he got the net revenue from the project, he got the net revenue from the facility for the management fee.
Okay.
So you need to get, if it's not going to be that, then you need to get something from this. So he should be, so you should get something and he should get a fee. So it's either 50/50, 60/40, and then you're going to have to have a much more specific definition in the agreement of what net income is.
And I think you have to intelligently look at this. Our architect just finished saying that it doesn't matter what the price is, if you spend 1.7 million, or you spend 2.5 million, or 1.5 million. He stood there and told you, in 2 phases, you're gonna be looking at 10% more.
There won't be 2 phases.
That's on 1.7
Don't beat a
million.
dead horse. It's not going to be in 2 phases.
Does everyone have a copy of the current management?
Yes.
Excuse me. Everybody has that.
Not with us.
Okay, but do you have a copy? Because I will email the document to everyone tomorrow so that they can look at it, and then if people have questions or comments in the 2 weeks leading up to the next meeting, they can, call me, we can talk about that, so that if there is direction to try and extend it in 2015, we all know what we're talking about, and we can get specific direction at the meeting.
That works.
Okay?
All right.
So I will, instead of sending it to Cam, I'll email it directly to everyone tomorrow.
Go ahead, trustee.
In all due respect, it seemed that the tone of this conversation was going in a certain direction, even after our attorney was stating that first, before anything had happened, needs direction from the board. No board decision, to my knowledge, has taken place. But now we're talking about how many meters they have, and various obligations that they have. We're not, and then asking the attorneys to go out and start researching or instituting some dialogue on a contract. The only thing I know is this: if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, we purchased the property, correct? We bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, someone got the money, correct?
The bank did.
Okay, or who?
The bank got the proceeds from the sale of the property.
Right, so
In exchange for
someone
release
got
on the
paid,
mortgage.
someone received the money, we do have title. So when we're starting to talk about the terms that what they need or what they don't need, only thing I know what we need and the taxpayers need is utilization of the money we spent. We're spending, and we seem to forget this. Everyone's so fixated on the park, the grass, the trees, the paths. But yet, we're spending $250,000 a year on rent. We're spending this kind of money on a place that we can't call our own. So we got to keep that in mind and when we're talking about savings. And we're always talking about savings and savings. We want to save money. But, you know, and that $250,000 a year doesn't encounter all the costs that we have as a village by renting this this unit here. There's the emergency management storage, there's file storage, there's other things that, you know, are kind of a hidden cost that are all part of our costs. And while we're all trying to save $4,000 here on tables and chairs, but yet, we're not worried about the big picture on this, the rent that we're paying year after year after year after year. And at the end of the day, we'll never see that money again.
One thing that I gotta get a little clarity on here. George, you said something as we were having a little dialogue back and forth, that this won't be done in 2 phases.
It won't be done in 2 phases.
So the banquet facility will be done all at once, which means he won't be in the banquet facility.
Correct.
He would have to get himself a trailer or something like that.
He wouldn't have to get himself a trailer. The buildings are completely separate, the heating units are separate, the electrical's separate. He would not have to do that.
What building are we referring to? What?
To the restaurant area.
Oh, so that's right.
Okay.
That's exactly what he said to you tonight.
No, you said the banquet facilities.
Yeah, well, I'm referring
That's not a banquet
to,
facility.
I'm referring to the whole building. I should call it the whole, the whole
First of all,
building.
the whole building is not going to be the village hall. The front of the building is supposed to be the community center, and the back of the building is going to be village hall. So where...
We haven't decided anything on that yet.
Exactly, and that's what we've tried to do for such a long period of time, but it keeps getting blown off, and that's...
Because
what
we
we're-
have somebody telling us what
who's
they should do
negotiated
with our property.
No, that's not...
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. The deal is being run by Jim Ludwig after he was forgiven $4 million, and we bought the property, and now our residents can't use the property. He supposedly is gonna come back in and run a golf course, while we got kids over on Parker Road, we got people over here, we got families picking up over there. We've gotta use the police department to get people in and out. Why shouldn't these people have access to this property?
Because it's not a park.
It is a park.
It is.
It's a recreational facility right now.
Would you like the noun version of it or the, what a park is?
It's real simple. It's going to be a vote.
Yeah,
But don't say it's not a park.
And Jim, you know what? When I spoke to you the other day, you didn't seem to have any problem at all whatsoever with getting the lawyers together to get a contract together for Mr. Ludwig to be able to do this. I explained everything of what we were going to do at the time, and you didn't seem to have any problem with it. Now that we're in public, it seems like there's a problem with it.
You totally have this wrong, George. I never talked about putting any attorneys together about anything.
Yes, you did.
I said, if the board decided to go down the route that
You would need a contract.
Can I finish? That if the board decided to go down the route to have Ludwig use it for another year, nothing's been decided. No compensation's been decided. There is no contract. That's where the conversation come from. Not that I was agreeing that this is going to be used as a golf course. You know where I stand on that one.
Yes, I do. And if I remember correctly, and I'm not going to remember verbatim, when we were on the phone, we had 45 minutes to get it back on the agenda because it was taken off the agenda by you, and we could have had this done tonight. But you said that there is not a contract written yet, so let me call the lawyers and I'll talk about that. And then I'll get a hold of Cameron to see if we can put this on the agenda for next week so we can vote on it. And the problem is, it was on the agenda to vote for it. It's actually been on the agenda, I think, 5 times now, and we've tried to discuss this thing close to 9 times now, and every time we try to do something, you come up with something that puts a kibosh on it. So all I'm saying right now is, our council just got done telling us, if anyone has an idea on it, to give him a call. He will get together with a lawyer from the other place, from Woodbine. They can draw up something, and then Mr. Ludwig can decide from that point if he wants to go back in there or not.
But he
What I said
needs,
was I will send the document to everyone, and if you have comments about what you think you should be in agreement, you should all let me know. But unless the board votes to give us specific, like direction to go in a specific manner, there's nothing for me to do. I'm just trying to get a consensus.
That's what I'm trying to say too, George, and you were the one that asked to have it put on as discussion to bring Mr. Ludwig in. And that's exactly what it was. It was on the agenda as discussion, not an action item, because we were going to have our conversation with Mr. Ludwig, which we did have a discussion with Mr. Ludwig.
Well, that seems strange though, because if it was under discussion, then why was there a motion made, very first person that you talked to have him address this, and Trustee DeVivo...
Because she's heard enough of it, and she wanted to make a motion.
Because Mr. Ludwig asked for this to be settled several meetings ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this probably 6, 7, 8 times, and he stood up here many, many meetings ago and said, I need an answer. If I'm going to go forward with this, I need an answer. And I thought that was a nice opportunity to get an answer to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Well, I wanted for next week to be, or 2 weeks from now, to be on the agenda for an action item. And if that's the case, what the lawyer just got done saying, we would have to figure out what percentage of the utilities he would have to pay. We would have to figure out what the management agreement, what percentage is going to him, what percentage is coming back to the house. There would have to be something on there that he has to maintain the property. And we, Trustee Costa, talked about before, that to put a certain amount of money in the bank to hold on to make sure that the grass was cut if something did happen, and he left, that we were still covered with the money to pay for it. So other than that...
No, he actually said he couldn't escrow money because he didn't have it. That's exactly what he said.
He said that
Look,
he
look
could
at the
get
heads out there bobbing yes.
If this is going to be a management contract with him, doesn't this have to go to bid? I mean, why would we just turn it over to someone?
It does not.
So we're going to turn it over to someone who just bankrupted. All right, fine.
Okay, yeah, this,
I would
We
suggest...
could be here all night.
Hey, hold on here, let's hear
I
from
would
the attorney.
suggest that you've heard the expression herding cats, and I think that this is the direction that we're moving in terms of trying to get a consensus. What I would suggest that we do is that, Cam contact, or somebody from the village contact Mr. Ludwig tomorrow to find out whether he wants someone from the village to deal directly with him, or whether he wants me to contact his attorney. But in any event, what should be done is Mr. Ludwig should tell us, this is what we need to have, this is our absolute minimum requirements to take the golf course on in 2015. That we need this much space, we got to have, this is what we need from the rent, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why if all of you call me and say, we need to have a minimum escrow of this amount. So if I get a consensus from everybody that that's what it is, and then you all know where you're going in terms of an agreement, and say, okay, we're willing to allow the course to stay open next year under these circumstances.
Okay.
And then taking into consideration that, as the architect has explained, if you stage the remodeling of the building, you're going to delay the completion of the building, which means that you're going to have people here, so you're going to have to continue paying this rent, as well as the increased construction costs on the other part of the building.
Well, you know what, the sky could fall tomorrow too. So the whole point here is, if we just hired the architects, they're supposed to be getting the stuff together. From what the mayor had said before, this building would be done by the end of, or by the spring of 2015. If it's done by the spring of 2015, there's no problem at all, because it's already done, we're out of here. I don't want to hold up this getting out of here. We do pay $250,000. They can, the season doesn't even start till March or April.
We don't, George, the purpose of this and what we've told the people, you're all about transparency. It wasn't to be in the golf business, okay? It was to build them a phenomenal park for the children of this community, whether it's active, passive, for the community. We went out, we bought the property, and all of a sudden, I can tell you one thing, I'm smelling like I'm in the golf business, and I promised everybody that that was not what we were gonna do.
You know, could I make a comment? I heard a comment, in all due respect, to the comment that was made, but I do take exception to something. When we're asking a person that tell us what you need on our building. We bought 100% of that building, 100% of that property. So tell us what you need, and we'll see if we could accommodate you. I think that's a little backwards, personally. We need the building. We're paying $250,000 plus a year of the people's money. On top of that, we paid $3.3 million to buy that area to move into. Now you want to ask someone, what do you need? And we'll accommodate you. A person that is out of business, in all practical sense, he's out of business. He's been actively trying to sell that property for many, many years. We know that as a fact, as a verifiable fact. We know that. So he wasn't looking long-term to be in the golf business, but he had, evidently, he thinks he has some patsies coming along that gave him money, forgave him that debt with the bank, and now we come in and say, whatever you need, you get. Now run your business debt-free, tax-free, and yeah, we'll share some utilities. I'm sorry, I don't think we're in the business as a municipal structure to start subsidizing in our future village hall, in our government property, subsidizing businesses under our roof. If that's how we're going to start writing the documents for government, I'll be the first one in line on that one, and I bet everyone in this audience would be right next to me, beating the path to that line to get subsidized for free. I don't think anyone would resist that. So, to pay some utility bills, they can't pay rent because then it violates, the real estate tax that we worked hard, this village did, our attorneys, and we paid the bill to get exempt. And he's going to get the benefit from that as well. Wow. Well,
I think
bet there's 25,000 other residents in Homer Glen that would like to add that deal.
I think he just twisted things around. All we're asking him to do is to maintain the golf course. It has a lot to do with security. The property is not ready yet for the type of play that the mayor has promised. I'm sorry, the mayor has promised certain groups and has left out other groups. The problem is that this is a community park for everybody, and we ought to treat everybody equally. And it's not subsidizing any business. It's asking a business to continue in the golf business so that we have a chance to have plans, to have rules and regulations, and to also protect for the neighbors that live around there, because nothing is ready yet on this course. You keep saying it's a park. It's not a park. It's a golf course. It drains like a golf course, and the ground is like a golf course. And so what we're trying to do is gain some time here while while the grounds continue to be a golf course. We're not subsidizing anybody. He's not telling us what we're asking, and the lawyer has said this. We are asking for a contract so that we can see it, so we can evaluate it, so that we can vote on it one way or another.
No, what I'm suggesting is that we get a proposal, is that the village gets a proposal from Mr. Ludwig, because there's no consensus from the board as to what should go in the management agreement, and we gotta get this thing off. You gotta get this thing off the dime one way or the other, because quite frankly,
Okay, proposal.
you're coming back here every 2 weeks, and it's a rehash of what happened, what was discussed the meeting
That's
before.
right. Everybody can take their own ownership of this subject, and we get past it.
Well, I'd like to throw
Okay,
one more
so
thing
what
out
you're
based
saying-
on a couple comments,
Hold
Mr.
on.
Mayor.
Go ahead.
Is Yeah, it's a park, and we're not subsidizing, we're just allowing Ludwig's. It's for the people. It's a park, it's a place for the people, space for the people. Does that mean my neighbors down the street come Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock next March, April, if you do agree to give it back to the Ludwig's, you bring a picnic basket out there and a blanket and throw the Frisbees around with his grandchildren? No. Why? He's public. He is a citizen of Homer Glen, but he's not allowed on that property. Why? It's because it's a golf course. It's to a private organization. Golf business is defunct. It's going defunct. And I got quotes from Tom Watson, famous golfer, that actually states that it's going defunct. Golf courses hit rough economics. Okay, the number of everyday players, especially new and young ones, this picture is bleak. That's Tom Watson. He goes on to talk. So we know the reason why this is going this way. So the golf course is going down, and excuse me, but I'm only reading what's reported or what has been written by experts. We also know that parks actually do help the local economy. We have this written by many of colleges. Many colleges and universities across the country, and we also know on the product that it brings, the positive product it brings to our communities, parks and recreation. So for the public, from home values to real estate values to also local tax base. This is from many colleges that generate, it states, parks and generate monies for the local economy. And that's 2012 study. And then there's more studies that social importance that brings and often cites as one of the most important factors in surveys of how livable communities are. So we understand that. It's talking about parks. It's not talking about golf courses. I'm sorry, that kind of is one of the industries that unfortunately is kind of going down. It's kind of hitting the trend, I guess you could say, a downward trend.
Well, okay, I see.
Would the attorney please repeat what you said?
Can I have the floor?
Yes,
for a
you
second?
may.
Okay, thank you. The fact of the matter is there's a disagreement up here as to how the property is to be used moving into 2015. That's not going to go away without a vote, okay? So
we're trying
Mark, he said it twice now, he'll say it again.
What should be on the agenda for the next meeting is discussion and possible action regarding Woodbine Management Agreement. It's going to cover all the bases.
Well,
Because it'll cover all the bases with respect to what you've talked about tonight. What I'm suggesting, because the board has not reached any type of consensus about what should go in the management agreement, is that someone contact the Ludwigs and find out what it is the Ludwigs expect or want to have the management. I can't contact the Ludwigs because they were represented by an attorney.
I'll contact them and ask them if they want to negotiate or if they want their attorney to negotiate on their behalf.
Yes. So we need to get this is what we need to have to run the golf course. You tried to, you explained that 2 weeks ago. This is what I need, minimum that I need to have. You guys have minimum requirements. You want some type of an escrow. He told you he does not have the money to put up an escrow. And when we closed, he didn't have the $65,000 to escrow for the 2013 property taxes, which is highly unusual. So that's why I want all of you to call me so that I can at least try and get some type of consensus about what a majority of you expect to see in this agreement. So you have an idea of what needs to be fashioned and how we can report back to all of you so that at least there's something intelligent in front of us in 2 weeks.
Does that answer your question, Margaret? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Trustee Costa?
Okay, so to get this straight, Cameron is going to contact Mr.
I'll
Glover.
probably stop by and see him.
See which way it's going to go.
Mhm.
And we're also going to ask him what he would need to manage it. In the meantime, we're going to call our attorneys, tell them what we want to see into it, and see if we can meld this for a 2-week vote.
Right, the only thing I would right? The only thing I would add to that is if he, I'm not going to ask him to make the decision immediately. You know, he can have a day to think about whether or not he wants to be the one that speaks with our attorney, or if he wants to have legal counsel.
Yes.
Of course, not that he's seeking my advice, but if he was, I would encourage him to have legal counsel. I always
You know what,
say
I just wanted to get it straight so we can move on here. So
Right,
that's
yeah,
what we're gonna do in the
I-
next 2 weeks,
I
and
get
get it on the agenda.
But
for-
what I don't get is this is gonna be a contract, so I don't know why you just don't call his attorney. Say
Well,
this,
I don't
this
know
one
if he
on.
wants to be, I don't know if he still wants to be represented by the attorney. He was hired,
All right, I
hired
follow
that
that.
lawyer for
Okay.
the specific real estate transaction. He's not, to my knowledge, does not have an ongoing relationship with them. But because he was represented by the attorney in connection with the transaction, it's not proper for me
All
to
right.
contact him.
Cam, contact him.
I understand.
It's gonna
Thank
end
you.
up with 2 attorneys, I can say it right now. So anyway, is there any further discussion? Is there?
Well, I would just like to make one comment about the discussion and how it was put on the last agenda and supplement sheet. If we're going to do it again, make sure it's shown as a motion to follow so that residents, trustees were not misled.
Right, I think they'll say discussion of possible action regarding Woodbine management agreement. That's going to cover every possible action.
In motion.
Okay. All right, is there any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
Second.
second by trustee Sweez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Meeting adjourned.